Hi, everybody. Welcome to this new webinar. My name is Pierrick Martel. I'm in charge of product marketing at Centreon. I'm very happy today that we will present all the new features and enhancements of version 25.10 of Centreon, or Centreon Infra Monitoring, as we call it, the platform now. With me are two product managers. They will do the presentations, Romain and Florian. And Fabrice is also here in charge of all the logistics. Okay, many people are connected, so I think I will just start with the agenda. We have split the webinar in two parts, one part for Romain, one part for Florian. Romain will discuss all the new features for dashboarding, BAM, business activity monitoring, and MAP. I will have a little talk about something new, DEM connector. And Florian, in the second part, will discuss credentials management, Centreon Monitoring Agents, and a few other things, and as well as how to upgrade to 25.10. We will have two Q&A sessions, one right after the presentation from Romain, where we can answer questions about what he has discussed, and a second one at the end to discuss all the topics from Florian, or to discuss any generic topic, any questions that you may have. So you may ask your questions all along the webinar using the question tool, this little question mark on the top of your screen on the right-hand side. And we will try to answer all these questions during the webinar. If we can't during the webinar, we'll do it afterwards, sending you some emails. All right. Before we start with Romain, I wanted to share with you the fact that mid-October, 16th of October, we have launched a new scalable and cost-effective observability platform. This is our new solutions which combine infrastructure monitoring, log management, and digital experience monitoring. This was launched in Paris during our Centreon Summit. And this is to deliver extended visibility and make observability accessible to all organizations. What it means is that, in fact, we are extending our portfolio. We go from one product to three products. One product is our IT and OT monitoring solution, Centreon, that you know of, and we are adding a second product, log management, and a third product, digital experience monitoring. These three products altogether are called the Centreon Observability Platform, which means that we had to find some name for the three products. So our good old Centreon platform is now called Centreon Infra Monitoring. The new log management product is called Centreon Log Management, and the new product in charge of monitoring the user experience with STM and real user monitoring capabilities is called Centreon DEM. Now, during all this webinar, we will still say very often Centreon. And when we say Centreon, we mean this Centreon Infra Monitoring platform that you all know and which is now at version 25.10. Log management is a product which is currently being developed by Centreon, and this is currently in private beta for a few happy users. It will reach public beta status in January next year, and you may find some information on our website about its future features and capabilities. Centreon DEM, which is in charge of user experience monitoring or web performance with STM and real user monitoring capabilities, is already available. In fact, this is an acquisition that we've made from a company called Quanta.io. We have already many customers using that solution. And again, you may find some information on our website. But today we are discussing Centreon 25.10 or Centreon Infra Monitoring 25.10, which means that this is for Romain to take the screen, open his microphone, and discuss all the new features on his part.
Thank you, Pierrick. Hello, everyone. Yes, I have the honor to start the presentation of the new features of the 25.10. So there are many things to discover together. So let me start directly by three main focus here. First one will be on the dashboards. Then I will go on with the business activity feature, the BAM, and I will close with the map. So as you should know by now, dashboards is the new showcase of your monitoring within Centreon. It's already available since a few versions to monitor your real-time data. What was missing was the possibility to do some reporting with the dashboards. So by using our feature MBI, reporting widgets are now available within the 25.10. So for now, we propose 4 new widgets, and 5 will come later in minor releases of the version. The idea here is, of course, to have a functional parity with what we propose within the custom views, which is the legacy version of the dashboards. But we are just not cloning the widget. We are trying to improve and modernize them by porting them to the dashboards. So inside the custom views, you had 15 widgets for MBI. Now we are trying to sum them and to be more efficient. So we target to have 9 widgets on dashboard sites to do the equivalent. Of course, along with the dashboard, you will have some new options for your graphs within the dashboards, as well as your other graphic widgets you already have on dashboards. So for example, you can customize the style, the axis, the legend, and so on and so on. And you have, as we do for every new feature within Centreon, new REST APIs to configure them. Okay, so let me show you quickly how they look like. First one is metric capacity planning, one of the most used. Yes, you can monitor the evolution of any metric compared to its history along the time. One main usage could be to monitor your capacity on any storage and anticipate when it's going to be full. So this is the first one. Then we have all the availability widgets. So first one is concerning the business activity availability. So you have, for a given period of time, the complete availability, but you also can look at the current level of your BA and your thresholds of warning and critical SLAs. Then same thing, but for the history of the availability of the BA. So it works also for a business view, of course, so when you can group all your BAs. And you have also the performance and the number of alerts on the timeline. Those of you who already use the dashboards may recognize the visual. Of course, we are reusing again the same modern UI and adapting it for real-time widgets. And the last one is, again, availability history, but for the host categories, and the host groups. So that's it for the MBA reporting widgets. Within dashboards, still with the dashboards, a feature that what we requested and really useful that were missing in the current dashboard is the possibility to select your resources in the dataset using regex, regular expressions. Great way to select a lot of current resources you already have, but also to anticipate your future resources, and so to add them automatically within your widgets and dashboards. So it's directly integrated into the resource search field, sorry. And you can use any regular expression to match the resources you want, depending on the naming you are using. It is now available for some resources. It will also be available for the metrics, where it could be really useful too. So, short example, on the left, you have the classic mode, the one you should already know, where you select your resources one by one using the chips. And on the right of the search bar, you can see a new pictogram where you can enter the regex mode. And on the right of my screen, you see this mode. We have the same results on the left and on the right, but as you can see on the right, there are some strange let me say, characters that are being used. These are the rules of the regex. For the most technical of you, you should already know how it works. I won't go into details right now, but yes, as I said, you have the same results, and most of all, you can add new resources respecting these regex I entered, and they will be added automatically. So yeah, you can switch between the two modes depending on what you want. And still concerning the dashboard, last thing I wanted to share with you is we did a lot of UX UI improvements. The main focus here was to optimize the space occupied by the dashboard. We had many blank spaces, many wasted space, meaning that you could display less information, critical information that you wanted. So we tried to do our best and to minimize all these and to focus on what really matters, meaning the monitoring itself. So yeah, we optimized the size of the different widgets, so you can do them quite small now, and you can also position them automatically when after creation they will fit along the grid automatically with the default size that you can of course change using your left or your right side of the widgets easily. You can now also enlarge any widget using a dedicated icon on the top right of each widget if you want to focus on one. And as I said, we have new MBI reporting widgets available, so it was time for us to do some categorization. So we have now 3 categories. The first one is not concerning the direct monitoring, but can be quite useful, which are the generic widgets. For example, the clock or the timer, the generic text to display your dashboard. And you can load an external URL, so you can use the generic widget web page for that. After, we have the classic real-time widget, where you can monitor any metric or any business activity or any group of resources in real time. And now the new section, which is MBI with, as I said, 4 new widgets coming with the 25.10. That's it for the dashboards. Let me move on with another feature, major feature, which are the business activities. So this is the first step of a huge project of complete modernization and simplification of the whole BAM functionality. First step has been to do some dashboard widgets, as you may already know. But second one is to offer you a new real-time interface to monitor real-time status of your business activity. So it's available already within the last version of the 24.10 that's been backported. That's one of the main features I wanted to highlight here. And let me share directly a screenshot of what it looks like. So as you can see, we have 3 different panels that are individually used as a standalone widget in dashboards too, if you want. So this is the monitoring page. On the top left, you have the BA diagram, the tree, where you can see all the indicators composing any business activity, colored according to its status, of course. You have a mini-map on the bottom right where you can navigate, really useful when you have a really large business activity. And so you know each warning or critical node is open by default, so you can directly monitor where are your problems. We are on a monitoring page. But all the green nodes are closed, but you can, of course, open them if you want to have a full view of your current business activity. On the top right, you have the list of all the KPIs, but you can decide by checking the box on the top to only show the ones that are affecting the status of your BA. And at the bottom, you can see the status timeline, which has been also introduced as a standalone widget within the dashboards, and where you can select a period of time and see the evolution of its status along on the time. So 3 panels, 3 widgets equivalents within the dashboards, and you can, as within the dashboards, you can click on the top right to expand any of them. So first step, not a minor one, but we will go along. You have more news about the next steps within the next webinars and events. Then let me talk about MAP, another of our business feature. I talked about MBI. Bam, here is what's new concerning MAP, and particularly, the geographical views. So it's for those of you who don't already know, there are the classic map, but you can also do some geographical views, meaning that you can position with geo-coordinates your resources or your business activities within a world map, and they will be directly positioned at the correct coordinates. So yeah, these geographical views were, let's be honest, missing some major features. As we decided to end the support of the old version of Map desktop clients and their equivalent, which were called the geomaps, and we took your feedback into account and wanted to, yes, to add the major and also some minor features which were really, really useful. First one, critical, is the privilege management by access group that was missing. So before that, every GeoView was accessible by anyone. So of course, we changed that, we fixed that, and now you can share any GeoView as you will do for a map as a reader, a writer, or an owner. You can also position and add some coordinates to your map directly, and so they will be also positioned within the world map. You can do the save of your perspective by zooming or positioning the map where you want and save it for the next use. And you can also duplicate any GeoView. Still concerning map, we also added a major feature that was also missing, which is the ACL for the images. So before that, any image used in a map was visible by any user. So that was particularly problematic for our MSP clients, who, of course, do not want to let any of their customers see all the images from the other customers. That because most of the time, some quite critical images can be used as map backgrounds directly. So it's sensitive, it has to be secured. So we are using the same security process as we do for other type of resources as host or services. We are using the resource ACL. So you can now directly add any image folders, so not images one by one, of course, but image folders directly within the ACL of resource access. And you can then, yes, grant or not access to who you want using that. And let me finish with another wanted feature, which is the new way to use the map API. It was already possible to use it if you want to configure or to automatize or to create any of your maps using the API. It was possible using the GWT token. It has now been standardized with what we do elsewhere within Centreon APIs. You can now use the API token feature within Centreon, and it will directly work. Really useful, even mandatory if you want to use delegated authentication to access this API. That's the case for our cloud platforms. So yes, it is now possible to do that too. That's it for me. I will let Pierrick go on.
Thank you.
With the slides.
Thank you, Romain. You may now ask your questions to Romain. I will just take 2 minutes before we answer the questions to discuss Centreon DEM. So this is our new product. In fact, we bought a company called Quanta.io, which is doing synthetic monitoring and real user monitoring in order to monitor the website user experience. And obviously, we have a monitoring connector for Centreon DEM. I want to show here that if you purchase the two solutions, you will get into your Centreon Infra Monitoring dashboards that Romain just discussed, you will get all the KPIs from Centreon DM. So you will have high-level KPIs such as the website performance score or website digital sobriety score, or you will have for all your user journeys, your synthetic monitoring scenarios, all the KPIs of these scenarios, transaction times, and so on and so forth. And you can put that into your dashboard, but also your maps, and you can also include all these KPIs into your business activities. As we've seen, there is a nice way to represent business activities, and business activity can now correlate the infrastructure view of a website, the Apache server and SQL database, but also the user experience as seen by the real user monitoring or synthetic transaction monitoring features of Centreon DM. So maybe that's obvious that if we have two products, they are connected, but I wanted to show that here, which means it's now time to answer the questions. There is one question that was answered already by Romain. Will the new BAM be able to use host groups and service group for KPIs? I'm just telling the questions for everybody in case someone else would have a question.
Yes, and indeed, as I have written in the chat, it's something we are considering. Yes.
D'accord.
It would be really useful for the next steps of the huge BAM revamp.
Okay. Don't hesitate to connect and create an account on our community platform, which is called The Watch, where there is a section called IDs. And in that section, you may, publish your IDs for product improvements, and you can vote on any other IDs. And that's really helpful for the product managers to know, what are the areas which must be improved, because we are about to do a big revamp of BAM. It's no time to put all your product improvement IDs for business activity monitoring in order to influence the revamp. There is another question which is about custom views versus dashboards. If I upgrade to 25.10, are my custom views still working? What's happening with custom views? Can you answer this very critical question?
Yes, of course, we are not killing the custom views for now. Indeed, the dashboards is the future of the visualization, but no worries. Custom views are still working, are still maintained for now, but just keep in mind that, yes, if you can start using the new dashboards for your new views, that should be the correct way to do that. But yeah, no worries.
Okay, so don't hesitate to upgrade to 25.10, even if you have many custom views. All right. I have a question about Helios. That's Helios. Will Helios still work in 25.10? Strange question, because I think Helios is the name of our internal agent for reporting on MSP capacity and a few things. Not sure about this one.
I think it's still working. We are thinking about it, but it's still working in 25.10. Yes.
I confirm.
Okay, so it's still working in 25.10.
Yeah, but we plan to change it.
All right. No more questions for Romain. You may ask more questions and we will answer at the end. So it's no time for Florian. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, hello everyone. So let's talk about secrets management. In Centreon Infra Monitoring, we handle a lot of password type data, which are very critical. And for now, some of this data was stored and transferred in plain text. So we worked a lot on this weakness and provided in 25.10 a way to securize by default these credentials. So what does this change? Before the 25.10, there were plain text credentials in database read by the web application, generated in configuration file when generating the configuration in plain text, and sent to Polar, then sent to CMA when using CMA. So this credentials was in plain text in all the chain. So if you take the CFG file, you can read the credentials directly. What we did in 25.10, we secured Web API credential generation. So credentials are now generated encrypted in configuration file. These encrypted credentials in files are sent to Polar as usual, but encrypted. Then the configuration is sent to CMA and remain encrypted. Decryption is done only when Polar or CMA need to execute the command. So nothing is stored locally, just decrypted, executed, and purged. This is for 25.10.0, and in 25.10 minor version, future minor version, we will bring the first lock in this schema, which is the database reading using TLS. So secured database connection for all Centreon Infra Monitoring components. So this would be the last step of this whole chain securization. So what does it change for you? No big change. The goal was to bring security by default without adding complexity to configuration. So for new 25.10 platform, you just have nothing to do. If you upgrade for a previous version of Centreon Infra Monitoring, you will have a new step in the procedure, which will ask you to execute writeEngine-secret.sh, which will get the encryption key. For the new installation, this new script is totally included in the existing register server topology script. So nothing to do more except execute it with an administrator account, because key retrieval is very sensitive operation. So it's only allowed for root administrator account. For cloud customer, no action are required. The key retrieval is operated by the register script. So it's totally automated and included in this script. Of course, if you are using a Polar which is not in 25.10, it will continue to work and it will not receive encrypted data which could not be read by the Polar. So it will receive plain text data as for now. And when the Polar will upgrade in 25.10, it will be able to get his encryption key. And so it will be able to tell to the central platform, yes, please send me encrypted data now. I'm able to decrypt it. So totally operational with older version, older Polar version. Some words about Centreon Monitoring Agent. We did a lot on Centreon Monitoring Agent since more than 1.5 year. So it, for me, it seems to be important to talk about a very easy question. Should I use or not an agent? For now and for the future, Centreon Infra Monitoring will not push you to only use agent or only use Polar. The goal is to provide an agent when it's relevant and to keep using a Polar when it's relevant. An agent is relevant in many situations. For example, when you want to forbid some protocol like SNMP to forbid outgoing traffic, but also when you have sites which are not including local polars, just some very small sites with only servers on it and no polars with a security constraint. And when you develop some local script, you or your customer, if you are MSP, develop some local script which are requiring very sensitive user right permissions and or which involve a lot of resource consumption. So for the script, the better action is to host them directly on the host. And in this case, the agent is the good solution. Based on that, we worked to CMA in order to offer a secure, high-performance agent. And we, from the beginning, we based it on an OpenTelemetry implementation, which allowed this agent to go through interoperability usage and to be able to connect tomorrow with any OpenTelemetry compatible platform. Then, as Pierrick told you about log management and DEM, the goal is also in the future to be able to merge some usage, to merge the agent in order to have one agent which will be based on OpenTelemetry protocol. Centreon Monitoring Agent is a long story. We started the beta in June last year. Beta lasted more than 1 year, ended in August of this year, and was the most followed and active beta in Centreon history. So thank you for that if you have been involved in the beta phases, because this phases was very critical. It helped us to improve the documentation a lot, and we know we are always trying to improve it more and more and more based on your feedbacks, and also to do a co-construction of the roadmap because we and me to begin, we had a vision of what we wanted, what we think should be the priorities, and we discussed it with you. And some ideas were good, some ideas were not. Or what we think not a big priority was big priority for you. So we reworked the roadmap, we reworked the enhancement, and we continue to do it by discussing regularly with the watch, with dedicated customer meets, with Centreon Summit, Centreon Connect, etc., to get more and more real-world information. What you want, what you need, what you are doing and want to do with the agent. For now, 140 user platforms are deployed with the agent, a lot of code, of lines of code, and more than 6 monitoring connectors. Good to know that in each monthly monitoring connector release, new connectors are provided for CMA. Security in CMA is by default. We ask for tokens for any connection mode, and we provide TLS, and TLS is mandatory for to use CMA in production. I will talk after about is TLS activation for users, because yes, there is a need on that. We also provide a CLI for Windows the mass deployment and native control, which are much more optimized in terms of performance, and also a custom NS client and NRPE scripts. So you can reuse the script you developed with NS client and NRPE with Centreon Monitoring Agent. What is the roadmap? It's not exhaustive roadmap, but some key points. We are working to optimize the interface to manage higher volumes of hosts, in particular for Polar initiated connection, which is technically very strong, but in the interface, we don't have an easy way to manage a lot of hosts, and it seems to be a need for some of you. The other major topic is about generating self-signed certificates. Or not really that, it's about is the CMA secured configuration. That's the need. And this one is how we answer this need. We answer this need by providing a huge automation which will allow you to deploy CMA in TLS mode without having to manage certificates. Certificates will be managed by Centreon. Central platform will generate certificate, push it to the Polar, and the agent we use this fingerprint to get the certificate. Everything will be automated with some maybe 3 or 4 manual steps. So 2 or 3 minutes, I think, to deploy an agent on a Windows. And the goal is to be the most user-friendly way to do. About Windows, we are working to provide dual installation, which is already possible on Linux. Dual installation for Windows is to be able to deploy an agent, multiple agent instances on the same host, and these different instances can push data towards different spoolers, so different platform if needed. The use case here is, for example, to have a production platform and a testing platform, and to be able to push the data on both platforms. And when you are trying configuration or migration on the test platform, you can validate that the data is still correct based on the double data flow. Another enhancement is about automatic agent registration. We are always talking about user experience, so agent registration is about automatically adding the host when a new agent try with success to connect to a poller. So you will not have to click to add host manually or using APIs. The agent will automatically connect and say, hello, I'm a new host. Please add me in Centreon Infra Monitoring. And last but not least, we are also working to provide the Centreon Monitoring Agent for containers. So this will be a big topic for the next months. As always, as I said, take part in the roadmap. Please come discuss with us on the watch with ideas, with problems. If you encounter problems, discuss with the community, discuss with the product managers and the developers team. Everyone is on the watch and will be happy to discuss with you about CMA. There is a dedicated group in category, in the watch for that. A small demo of the new interface. We work to enhance the agent configuration interface to allow something which was already possible on the agent is to activate for a poller 2 connection mode at the same time. So you can now activate for a dedicated poller connection by agent and connection initiated by poller at the same time. Some host will connect to the poller, and from some other host, the poller will connect to the host for the same poller. So that's much more clear for the user and will allow this case, which were not allowed for now because the interface was asking you to choose one or the other one. We also improve the installer following dependencies obsolescence. So we change a library, and we had a very positive side effect to enhance the installer design, which is much more modern and user-friendly also, with more error message, more clear error message or information message, information tooltip. And this is what you can see on this demo. No change in terms of functionality or fields, it's just a cosmetic change for that. Now let's talk about a change we did on the interface for the host group management. We are working progressively on all the configuration pages in Centreon, and we take what we called legacy or old configuration pages to change them and stick them to the new design guidelines. And it's not only about cosmetic design, it's about user experience. So we take the page, we discuss with the user, we identify and remove all unused fields, and we are thinking about how to transform the user experience. So we did it for the host group, and each time we work on configuration page enhancement, we also base this change on APIs, because all the new Centreon Infra Monitoring pages are based on APIs. So when we provide a new page, we also provide or enhance, if existing, new APIs. So that's a good point also for you, because it's not only a interface change, it's also API enrichment. So the new host group page is this one with a much more much less fields than before. And a totally new design based on what you can see on dashboard, for example, or on resource status with new buttons appearance, new icons, etc. You can still duplicate, you can still delete, enable, disable, and do some massive actions. And to finish, some words about Centreon platform updating to Centreon 25.10. First, the operating system. Supported operating system are Red Hat, and Alma Linux 8 and 9, Debian 12, and Raspberry Pi OS for the polos only. About the software dependency, we are working for this version on PHP 8.2, MariaDB 10.11, and MySQL 8 and 8.4. Good to know that MySQL 8 will be end of life on April on next year. So to validate the 24.10 Centreon Infra Monitoring version end of life, we will support MySQL 8.4 also in 24.10 Centreon Infra Monitoring version. About custom view, Romain talked about it. The custom view are disabled for new 25.10 installation because we encourage you to go to dashboards, and will be removed in a later release, but it's not in short term. So you can and you should start to migrate to dashboard. But if you have custom views for now, they will be not removed in 25.10 after the migration. Don't worry about that. And also, and for each version, the online documentation is up to date. We did a big work on a lot of pages, especially on the CMA pages, but also for all the products. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Florian. This is now, we are soon the end of this webinar. Let me share the screen again so that we can look at all the questions. We'll start from, the encryption, secret management. There's a question from Henry who's asking, where is the key stored to decrypt the password? What happens if is it in memory or in a file? What happens if the connection between the central and the polar is lost? That's a very fair question from Henry. Can you answer this?
Okay. So the decryption key is stored on the central in a dedicated folder in a JSON file, and it's also stored on every polar because each polar will get his encryption key when upgrading or installing, and we keep it. So if the connection to the central database is lost, the polar will continue to execute the check because he will have the decryption key. So no regression on that. It will be very problematic because sometimes the connection is lost between central and database and polar, sorry, and you still need to be able to monitor. So no change on that compared to before. File are only in memory and lost on reboot. No, the file is not lost on reboot because the file is only on the polar. It's persistent and will not be a get from the central for each check. It's transferred to the polar, it remains on the polar, and it's used to decrypt when needed.
One thing also to mention is that you have done a lot of performance testing in order to make sure that encryption will not impact the CPU or memory usage of the polar. So no worries here. Even if you are monitoring a lot of hosts, encryptions will not impact the performance of the polar. Another question about the Centreon Monitoring Agent. Will it be possible to push scripts and configuration to the CMA from Central, or how to deploy custom scripts?
For now, it's not planned to push script from the Central because for in a lot of use cases, I explained before the MSP use case, but it's not the only one. Scripts are managed on host side. They can be managed unitary from one host. It's a dedicated script for this host, and even if it's massive, it will be included in the host deployment policy, which is not managed by Centreon because it's managed by other tools, other automation tools, which deploy the host and will include on this host the agent and the needed required custom scripts. So it's not for me it can be discussed, of course, but it's not for me the goal and the purpose of Centreon to manage custom script that can be sent to remote host. It's not monitoring. Centreon will use the script as monitoring script, but we not push them, store them locally, and push them and deploy them on depending on the host. It can be discussed, but for me, it's not the Centreon purpose.
Okay. Before we go to the next questions, I want to do some advertisement to a new program called the Watch Loyalty Program. When you contribute to the Watch, you answer questions and vote for IDs and so on and so forth. You get points, credits, and these credits can now be translated into not real money, but credits that allow you to buy with those credits goodies with a Centreon logo. So it's a new loyalty program so that more people contribute to the watch and get some rewards in exchange. Oops, sorry. When you discussed host group configuration, there was a question that I'm not sure I understood from Peter. Are nested host groups and dynamic host groups in the plans also for service groups? I don't know if you get these questions or.
Yes, of course, we already did some mock-ups and prototypes. In terms of priority, it will not be in short term, but it's in the plan as all the pages, including host and services and service groups and all the configuration pages. So yes, it's totally in the plans.
Okay. A simple question about Red Hat 10. When will this be supported? Do we know?
For the agent or for Centreon Infra Monitoring?
No, I think that's for Centreon Infra Monitoring.
I don't know for now. Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. Okay. So we'll try to answer that after the webinar. We have your email and can we still are we still able to use event handler with Centreon Monitoring Agent?
Yes, for me you should. Yeah.
Okay, that's a yes. Thank you. Can we have the link to the loyalty program, Mr. Fabrice Betokpanou, who's in charge of the watch? Can that be put somewhere on the watch or on the chatter? I think this a post will be on the watch tomorrow, in fact, exactly for this program. Okay, how are we doing with questions? Not bad, I think.
Good, I think.
We're good. All right. Well, thank you very much for participating to this webinar. Please keep posted on the watch, and we'll see you soon in some other webinars, probably in 2026. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.